I stayed with my wife after discovering her emotional affair with a man from her gym. She promised it was over, but she kept spending 3 to 4 hours at the same gym every day. Then, right after our anniversary, she finally admitted the truth. They had been sleeping together the entire time. Hello, Reddit. I plus here. I never thought I would be the person writing one of these posts. I used to read relationship stories online and think, there is no way I would tolerate that. If my wife ever cheated on me, I would leave. Simple. At least that's what I believed before it actually happened. I'm 38, my wife is 36, and we've been married for 13 years. We have 3 children, ages 11, 8, and 5. Our youngest has cerebral palsy and requires a significant amount of therapy, appointments, specialist visits, and extra care. For the last several years, our life has revolved around our kids, especially our youngest. I'm a stay-at-home dad. My wife works full-time and earns most of our household income. I handle school runs, meals, appointments, homework, therapy, laundry, grocery shopping, and basically everything that happens between waking up and going to bed. It wasn't always easy, but I never resented being the parent at home. Then my wife joined a gym. At first, I was genuinely happy for her. She had always struggled with feeling uncomfortable in her body after having children, and I thought exercising would help her confidence. Instead, the gym slowly became another world, and there was a man in that world. I'll call him Ryan. Ryan was married too. My wife told me they were friends. That was all. Except their friendship didn't look like any friendship I'd ever seen. They started messaging constantly. Morning, afternoon, late at night, memes, jokes, personal conversations, complaints about their marriages, things about their bodies. Things I knew my wife shouldn't have been discussing with another married man. Whenever I asked about him, she became defensive. Sometimes she deleted conversations. Sometimes she said they hadn't spoken when I later found out they had. Sometimes she told me I was being paranoid. I started questioning my own judgment. Maybe I was jealous. Maybe I was insecure. Maybe I was just exhausted from being home with the kids all day. Then her gym routine became extreme. 3 or 4 hours at a time, sometimes before work, sometimes after work, sometimes on her days off. She could leave the house before the children woke up and return when they were already getting ready for school. I was the one standing at the door every morning. I was the one helping our youngest get ready. I was the one loading the car for therapy. Meanwhile, my wife seemed to be building an entirely separate life. Around the same time, we decided we were finished having children. She started talking about cosmetic surgery. She wanted a breast augmentation and a procedure to repair the changes from pregnancy. I supported her. I told her that if it would make her feel better about herself, I wasn't going to stand in her way. But something inside me kept saying, something is wrong. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was preparing to become a completely different person, and I was going to be left behind. Then things between us got worse. We argued constantly. She said I was negative. I said she was never home. She said I didn't appreciate everything she did financially. I said money didn't replace being present with your family. Eventually, she took off her wedding ring. She didn't even have a serious conversation with me about it. She simply stopped wearing it. Then she told me we were separated. I remember sitting there thinking, separated. We were still living in the same house, sleeping under the same roof, parenting the same children, eating dinner together. There were no rules, no discussion about dating, no discussion about finances, no discussion about what separation actually meant. It was like she had privately changed the status of our marriage and expected me to understand. Eventually, we tried to establish some boundaries. One of them involved Ryan. I told her I couldn't control who she spoke to at the gym, but I didn't want private conversations with him outside the gym. No late-night messages, no secret conversations, no deleting things. She agreed, or at least she said she agreed. A few months later, I discovered the messages. I wasn't snooping. I was trying to help her with her phone because something wasn't working properly. I came across a number I didn't recognize. I opened the conversation, and my stomach dropped. There were hundreds of messages, maybe thousands. It wasn't a friendship. It was a relationship. They talked about meeting. They talked about missing each other. They talked about how unhappy they were. There were romantic messages. There were things no married person should be saying to someone who isn't their spouse. I confronted her. She cried. Then she told me they had never had sex. She swore the physical part went no further than holding hands and hugging. I asked her repeatedly. She looked me directly in the eyes and said there had been no sex. I was devastated, but somehow I convinced myself that an emotional affair was something we could survive. Maybe because I wanted my family intact. Maybe because I still loved her. Maybe because leaving meant destroying the life my children knew. So we went to counseling. We talked. We cried. We tried to rebuild. Slowly, I started believing her again. Or maybe I just desperately wanted to. We even had a good anniversary. For the first time in a long time, I thought maybe we were turning a corner. Then the next day, she sat me down. She said she needed to tell me something. I immediately knew. She told me she had lied. They had slept together. Not once. Multiple times. She said it happened in his car while she was supposed to be at work. She said they used protection. She said the last time was several weeks before she confessed. I don't remember everything she said after that. I remember the room. I remember staring at the floor. I remember feeling physically sick. I remember thinking, I already forgave you for something that wasn't even the full truth. I had gone through the entire grieving process once. Now I had to do it again. Except this time, I knew I had been lied to while I was trying to forgive her. I asked her why. Why didn't she just divorce me? Why keep coming home? Why sleep with me while sleeping with another man? Why let me believe I was rebuilding our marriage when she knew the truth? She said she never wanted to leave our family. She said she loved me. She said she felt lonely. She said she felt neglected. She said she didn't feel emotionally safe in our marriage. She said she had convinced herself that what she was doing was something she deserved because she felt unhappy. And I understand that people can be unhappy in a marriage. I understand that I wasn't a perfect husband. I know I have flaws. I know there were times when I was impatient. I know being exhausted from raising 3 children affected how I communicated. I know our marriage had problems, but here's where I'm stuck. Problems in a marriage can explain why someone is unhappy. They don't explain why someone chooses an affair. She could have asked for counseling. She could have asked for a separation. She could have filed for divorce. She could have told me she wanted out. Instead, she created a secret relationship and then lied about it. That's the part I can't get past. I immediately went for an STI test. I never imagined I'd be sitting in a clinic doing that because of my wife. The humiliation was overwhelming. I felt like my entire identity had been ripped apart. I'm a father. I'm the person who makes sure everyone gets where they need to be. I'm the one who remembers therapy appointments. I'm the one who makes breakfast. I'm the one who knows which child needs what backpack. I'm the one who stays awake when our youngest has a difficult night. And somehow, despite doing all of that, I started feeling like I wasn't enough. That's what this affair did to me. It didn't just destroy my trust in her, it destroyed my confidence in myself. It's been about 3 months since the full confession. I debated posting this update because, honestly, there isn't a dramatic ending. I didn't pack my bags and disappear. I didn't expose the other man's wife. I didn't win some huge court battle. I didn't meet someone new and suddenly realize my life was perfect without my wife. I'm still here. We're still married. For now. We started marriage counseling almost immediately after she confessed. We're also doing individual counseling. Some days I think we're making progress. Other days, I feel like I'm right back at the beginning. We've established an open device policy. Passwords aren't secret anymore. There are boundaries regarding friendships. There are boundaries around communication with people from the opposite sex. There are consequences for hiding things. And she says she has completely ended contact with Ryan. Apparently, he tried reaching out again after the affair ended. He sent her an email. She showed it to me immediately and didn't respond. That was one of the first moments where I felt like she was actually choosing transparency instead of secrecy. But here's the problem. I don't know how long I can live like this. Every time her phone vibrates, my brain reacts. Every time she says she's going somewhere, I wonder where. Every time she spends extra time at the gym, I remember everything. Even when she's telling the truth, I feel suspicious. That's not the marriage I want. I don't want to become a husband who checks locations and timestamps. I don't want to interrogate my wife every time she comes home 10 minutes late. I don't want my children watching their father become obsessed with whether their mother is cheating again. But I also don't know how to trust someone who lied to my face for months, and counseling has complicated things. My wife keeps saying that she felt unhappy, unheard, and emotionally unsafe with me. The therapist keeps encouraging me to examine my behavior and understand how our marriage reached that point, and I am willing to do that. I genuinely am, but sometimes it feels like the affair is slowly becoming something I am expected to take partial responsibility for. I can accept responsibility for being a bad communicator sometimes. I can accept responsibility for being emotionally distant. I can accept responsibility for the ways I failed my wife. But I cannot accept responsibility for her decision to have an affair. Those are two different things. And lately, I've started wondering whether I'm being manipulated. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm simply too emotionally damaged right now to see things clearly. That's why I'm here, because I don't trust my own judgment anymore. I realized my self-esteem is gone. This is probably the hardest part to admit. I don't recognize myself. Before all this, I was confident, not arrogant, just comfortable with who I was. Now I look at myself and feel worthless. My wife spends hours working out. She's in incredible shape. She's confident. She has a career. She has friends. Meanwhile, I'm a stay-at-home father who spends most of his day taking care of everyone else. And after finding out she slept with another man, I started comparing myself to him. I hate that. I don't even know what he looks like beyond what I've heard. But my brain keeps creating an image of him. Maybe he's more attractive. Maybe he's more muscular. Maybe he's more confident. Maybe he's more exciting. Maybe my wife wanted something from him that she never wanted from me. I know those thoughts aren't healthy, but they're there. And some days they completely consume me. The worst part is that I stayed. I keep asking myself what kind of man stays after something like this. Then I look at my children. Our youngest needs stability. Our other two kids deserve parents who can communicate instead of destroying each other. And I still love my wife. That's the part people don't understand. I'm angry with her. I'm disgusted by what happened. I'm hurt beyond words. But I still love her. Love doesn't disappear just because someone hurts you. I wish it did. It would make this so much easier. Right now, I'm trying to rebuild myself, whether the marriage survives or not. I'm exercising. I'm spending more time with friends. I'm getting out of the house. I'm trying to remember that being a stay-at-home father doesn't make me less of a man. I'm trying to stop measuring my worth by whether my wife finds me attractive. I'm trying to understand that her choices are not a measurement of my value, but I'm struggling. Some mornings I wake up and feel hopeful. Some mornings I wake up and remember everything before my feet even touch the floor. I don't know whether we're going to make it. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll be divorced. Maybe we'll still be together. Maybe we'll eventually rebuild something stronger. I honestly don't know. What I do know is that I can't spend the rest of my life punishing myself for a decision she made. I can work on my flaws. I can become a better husband. I can become a better father. But I cannot carry the weight of her affair as though I committed it. So that's where I'm at. A 38-year-old father of three, still married, still trying, and still wondering whether staying is an act of love or simply fear of starting over. If you've been through something similar, how did you rebuild your self-esteem? And if you stayed after an affair, how did you eventually learn to trust your spouse again without becoming a detective? Because right now, I don't need someone to tell me that everything will magically be okay. I just need to know whether it's actually possible to become myself again after something like this.